Well, if anybody's watching this, I'm still trying to get my stream set up. I think I'm streaming on YouTube. Yeah, it says I'm live. I just don't know if the video is actually going through. Looks like it is. LinkedIn's being weird. I'm like seeing like a replay. Let me just hit go live again. We've had some trouble going live with the broadcast. Please try again. Let me just come out and okay. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do this again. Okay. There's a bit of a delay. I'm actually surprised for a live stream. There is a bit of a delay, and I don't see any viewers yet. See if I can get this live on LinkedIn. That little thing is showing on my screen. Okay, got that to go away. Waiting on LinkedIn. I think YouTube is live. And it looks like there's somebody actually viewing. Hey, for the person viewing on YouTube, just curious, is my screen backwards? Is it flipped horizontally like everything's reading backwards? Because it's showing backwards to me, but it might be okay for you guys. I don't know what is going on with LinkedIn. Come on, LinkedIn. I knew there might be some technical difficulties. I'm wearing my headphones just in case I don't have random audio coming around over my microphone. That way it'll come in my headphones instead of being heard on the microphone. But I can't see the need to wear them otherwise. I did try to get some music playing and that didn't work. Still waiting on LinkedIn. I'm going to refresh. Dude, I don't want to do that. LinkedIn was working great when I tested, and now all of a sudden it just won't pick up the stream. I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, now LinkedIn is saying I'm live. All right, and it looks like I'm live on YouTube. Yes. Yes, okay, I'm live on both. All right. So the big lesson learned here so far, if you're interested in streaming, is that it looks like my video is okay. It's showing, I wish I could show it. If I show it to you, it'll like cause that like cascading Windows thing, but on my right-hand monitor, it's showing everything backwards. But on my left-hand monitor, I've got LinkedIn and YouTube up, and it looks everything looks okay. Everything's in the right order. It's just a little bit delayed, which is driving me nuts. I'll just have to get used to that. But so for my first live stream, it was mainly about testing out the connection and getting things going. But what I do want to do is actually do a live demo. So the idea here is to live stream every Wednesday. So if you're coming today, I'm going to demo, but more consistently every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UTC, for those people that are not in the US. my plan is to do a live demonstration every week. It's one of the things I did in my previous job for customers. It's one of those skills I'd like to maintain in addition to making videos and showing you guys what's cool about ServiceNow or other technology. But specifically, I want to make sure that like demoing an app and demoing things in ServiceNow is still something I'm used to and doing frequently. So that's my promise to you guys. Every week, open house sessions with Justin. That's the tagline I came up with. It's a spin on Justin's house, but open house sessions. I'll get some better graphics, some better artwork of it here eventually. Maybe even figure out, I couldn't figure out the music thing either, but I'm live. That's what's important. So what I want to do, I had two things on my list of things that I wanted to mess around with and do. One of those was the new ServiceNow IDE from the ServiceNow team. So let me just go to the store. This actually came out. It's been out for a little bit, but it just now, or just recently, I think it was in the fall release, became available for personal developer instances. So if you have a PDI, you can get the ServiceNow IDE on your PDI. So that's what I wanted to do in this one. I actually just released this afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern, me using the now ServiceNow SDK on the Mac. So the SDK and the IDE are kind of related. The IDE is going to bring it into like a web-based Visual Studio. And then if we have time after messing around with the ServiceNow IDE, there's also a thing with workspaces is a bit buggy. I want to show you and see if installing the app actually fixes it. So in order to install an app from the ServiceNow Store, if you're not familiar, you actually don't do this in the ServiceNow Store for a PDI. If you're in a production instance or you're in a sub-production instance, you would use the store, you'd use this get button, you would sign in, and then that application would be available to you. In the case of the ServiceNow IDE, it's going to be available to you in your instance, no matter if you're in your PDI or if you're in a production or sub-production instance. So all you need to do is go to the application manager from the admin menu. So right up here under application manager, you've probably been here before if you're a ServiceNow admin or someone who has their own personal developer instance. I'm actually a fan of the application manager, the old one. In fact, it's showing it here. The classic application manager sucked. It was horrible. So I did not like that one. But what's nice here now is I can search for ServiceNow IDE and get the same application that you saw there in the store. So it's right here. Let me move it from above my, or put it above my head. Right here is the ServiceNow IDE. Same thing we saw in the ServiceNow Store. And what my goal is to actually get this installed in the instance. The other fun part about live streaming is making sure you guys aren't leaving any comments. So I've got those two up. So this is the ServiceNow IDE not installed. So we're going to go ahead and click install. It is going to, if you don't have it installed, install the Unified Developer Core. I already have that, so I don't need to worry about that now. So go ahead and click the install button, let that install take place. And the idea after this, why you might want the ServiceNow IDE, why I released a video this afternoon on the ServiceNow SDK, is all about development. So there's certain kinds of development like loading JavaScript modules or JavaScript packages or NPM packages that you can do through the SDK and through the IDE. And I'll give you an example of one while we're watching this install. So one of the applications that I was working on recently, I was importing from an RSS feed URLs and some short description, long description, stuff like that. And a lot of the data was coming in with HTML markup in it. And it wasn't the typical HTML markup, it was the escape characters for that HTML markup. So instead of it being like less than, tag name, greater than, and then some text, and then less than, end tag name or slash tag name, greater than sign, it was like the and GT semicolon or colon semicolon and LT semicolon. So it's the escape markup language around HTML. And there wasn't a good way to clean that out with the out of the box methods that are available in the server-side JavaScript library from ServiceNow. So there's a package called entities that's available from NPM that I wanted to include in my application so I could reference it. And that's the genesis behind me exploring the Now SDK, which is cool because now I understand all this other stuff that you can do writing actual code, like traditional code. So this is not a low code kind of exploration here. This is I'm going to go write some code and that code's going to do something in my application in ServiceNow, whether that's server side. I think you can do client side scripting. Yeah, because you can um, do all that there. The ServiceNow IDE is an integrated development environment, or IDE, and it's meant to bring everything together within your web browser, right? So in the video I released today, it actually, I'm going to go ahead and close this install window. It shows me using Visual Studio Code on my Mac, which is a way to develop, right? So you would have everything locally, and part of the cool part of the video is I can then build my application and deploy it back to my instance. In that case, it was my personal developer instance. So that was pretty cool. With an IDE, same concept, except we're going to do the development here in the cloud. Um, all right, so I'm in unknown territory here. I just installed this. So I'm expecting to be able to open the IDE, but like many things when you install them in ServiceNow, none of these menu items have updated to recognize that you just installed an app. In fact, sometimes they take forever to update. So I'm gonna hit refresh. You can't see it in the video. I've blocked out the bar on the top, but I'm gonna hit refresh on the whole browser to make sure that I'm looking at the refresh instance and all my menus have updated. And now I should be able to search for, let's search for IDE. Incidents has IDE in it. Let's see, let's get rid of self-service. We'll just collapse this, get rid of App Engine. Actually, it might be an App Engine. Since I've never opened this before, I actually don't know where this is going to live. It's not under content publishing. So that's too broad of a search term. Let's just try ServiceNow ID. Okay, good to know. This is under System Applications, is the menu that it puts it under. So I didn't know that. I'm going to go ahead and favorite that. So let's just click the star. Let's clean up how it's got this labeled. I'm going to get rid of that. ServiceNow ID. This little guy is just a reminder that's going to open a new tab. So I usually leave that. And now I should have that in my favorites there at the bottom, ServiceNow IDE. So let's go ahead and open that up for the first time. I'm doing this live. You're seeing me install this. I swear I haven't installed this anywhere else. Never seen this before. And yeah, this kind of looks like Visual Studio Code, to be honest. Instead of opening a folder or something, it looks like I'm creating a workspace. Now I do have an application. I've done both Justin's House, AppMinder, and my DALL-E Spoke. So that's not what it means by workspace. Let's click this Getting Started guide and see under the ServiceNow IDE. Let's just explore it. And there's my home page. So my workspace is basically where I'm going to put my application. Okay, so that's interesting. So let's just create a new workspace, and we'll call this Live Demo as my workspace. And I'll enter. Workspace description will be first time I used the ServiceNow IDE. All right, enter that. Okay, so I've got a workspace. And okay, cool. So I can create an app from here, open an app, or clone a Git repository. Well, this is nice because I did not do this in Visual Studio Code on my desktop. I do have all my apps saved up to GitHub. So that's nice. That's an option. I'm not going to do that live due to passwords and all that stuff. I don't, but it does. Okay, so this is neat. So it recognizes the 3 apps that I did convert over. Hey, Russ. Hey, Sanjay. Just saw your comments come through. Welcome to my first live stream. I'm in the middle of installing the ServiceNow IDE. Thank you guys for attending. You missed all the bad parts at the beginning where I couldn't get LinkedIn up and working, but somehow I figured it out. So I've got the IDE installed. I've got it open in a new tab, and I just created a workspace in the IDE, and I was going to open an existing app. And what I was just about to point out, the ones that are showing on the screen, the DALL-E Spoke, my first SDK app, and Justin's House, those are all applications that I converted using the Now SDK in Visual Studio Code. So it's interesting that those showed up there. I'm going to go ahead and open up Justin's House. That's my favorite application where most of my stuff happens. And man, I was expecting a little bit more files over there. There's a bunch of files when I open that in Visual Studio Code. So I'm surprised there's not much there. Thanks, Russ. Yeah, it's good to see you. Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll catch up soon. Actually got people logging in and leaving comments. That's awesome. Can I react to comments live? I don't know. I can report them. I don't need to report Russ. Let's see. I can mark a thumbs up. And let's give Sanjay a thumbs up. Sanjay, thanks for joining. And I don't know what the thumbs up, maybe that's just my way of knowing if I responded to something or not. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's in LinkedIn. We've got about 4 viewers. No, one viewer right now over on YouTube, so no comments over there. All right. So I'm in the IDE. I've opened up my application Justin's house, and I'm not seeing all the data that I would normally see over there because it's a big application. There's a bunch going on there, a workspace, dashboards, all that stuff. But I can open a file. I can create new files. I can create new folders, create new files. Let's just refresh, see if there's anything else in there. No. Open headers, folders, timeline. Metadata, okay, so you can't, this is going to show up behind my head. Metadata changes detected for Justin's house. Do you want to sync? So there still is the concept of syncing, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and sync it. And error during fluent sync, failed to parse JSON file. I mean, I didn't change anything. That's interesting. Let me just close that file. I don't know why there would be an error message about that, but so far this is not as intuitive as when I was using the Visual Studio Code and looking at my application. Let's go ahead and check out this menu up here. So I got File, New Window, Open an Application, Open Recent, I can add an app to my workspace, which I just did, and all of that looks normal. Interesting, there's no terminal windows or anything. I've got search, I've got my source control, which there is source control attached to this particular application for Justin's house. So it did not bring that over, that information over. I've got my metadata explorer. Okay, this is what I was expecting in the first Explorer window when I opened up the app. This is the metadata I was expecting. So this is basically the configuration of my app. So I should be able to come in here and see all my flows. Yeah, there they are. Convert an idea to story, create content tasks. I can get to all that. Now, I bet if I open these, it's going to be in Fluent. And I am not familiar with Fluent yet. On my list of things to do, it's going to open up the XML file, which is not going to be very human readable in this particular view, like if you were opening up in Flow Designer. So if it opens at all. Interesting. I'm just clicking on things to see what happens here. It said it was opening, but I'm not seeing anything. Let's just close that. So there's my flows, my notifications, some data around tables and my forms, security. Now I did, let's go to server development and script includes. These are my script includes. What I'm looking for is when I was in the ServiceNow, or when I was on the ServiceNow SDK or Now SDK using Visual Studio Code, I actually created a JavaScript module, which I don't know where it lives in here. Let's just search Justin. No results found. Okay, we'll go back here. Okay, integration, security, server development, other maybe? Let's search for module. Yeah, that's a module within the application menu, not like a JavaScript module, which is what I was looking for. Function instances, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. And there's no search feature here. That's kind of disappointing. I would have loved to be able to search here for what I'm looking for. I'm going to give it a couple more tries. Images, client development, UI policies, not what I'm looking for. It's not a user interface. And then this is just everything else. If I open up, if you haven't done this already, ServiceNow Studio, which is kind of look similar look and feel. So let's just compare them real quick. This is the ServiceNow IDE, and this is ServiceNow Studio. If I open my app, Justin's House, and ServiceNow Studio, you're going to see a similar list to that metadata, right? So here's the AI search dictionary, AI search index. So that's very similar to what I see here in Visual Studio or in ServiceNow Studio. I get confused with all the studios. So what I was expecting, and you can see where I've searched for it before, Justin.js, or just Justin. I thought I had a .js in here. I don't like that it's all expanded. And my ECMAScript module, there it is. Oh, I've called it Justin's entities.js is what I was searching for. So just to be clear, I'm in first ServiceNow Studio, not in the IDE, which is what I was showing you. But let me search properly here. Okay, so search actually works here. Let's go back to the IDE in my workspace. I don't have a search here, which I really would have loved to have seen. So, but I can actually see my category is ECMAScript module. So let's just see if we have ECMAScript module. I do, and there it is. There's my, there's a sys module, but we should see, let's open this one, just in entities.js. Interesting, I'm getting these error messages. I don't know if that's because I didn't like refresh the cache um, before I started exploring this. Okay, there it opened up when I hit refresh. Um, Perfect. Thank you, Shagik. Appreciate it. I probably said your name wrong. Can you tell the difference between Studio, ServiceNow Studio, and Creator Studio? Yeah, I actually can, because there's lots of things named Studio. So I'm in the ServiceNow IDE at the moment. The ServiceNow Studio is this application that I just had open here. This is basically if you're a developer and you're an admin and you need to do anything administrative related on your instance, ServiceNow Studio is kind of your like one-stop shop. The Studio, it used to be called Studio, and what he's talking about, if you just search for Studio in the application menu, you can see all the differences there, like App Engine Studio, Workflow Studio, Creator Studio, ServiceNow Studio. There's a legacy studio with no prefix, right? So just studio. It is legacy. This is old. It's going to go away at some point. So that is like, if you shouldn't need to use this anymore now that ServiceNow Studio was released with Xanadu. So anything that you could have done here, let's just open my Justin's House application. Anything that I could have done here in Studio, all this has feature parity from what I've seen in the webinars and the documentation. It all has feature parity with ServiceNow Studio, which is what's showing here. So that's the difference between those two. One's old, one's new, one's replacing the other. The one thing that I've noticed is missing when I'm in ServiceNow Studio, I can go commit changes to source control. And see, I have 17 changes I haven't actually submitted to GitHub. I have not seen a way to do this in ServiceNow Studio yet. Maybe it's I don't know how to do it, or they just don't have this available yet, but I have not seen a way to commit code within ServiceNow Studio. So that's the only feature parity that I haven't seen. Other than that, I've been really happy with ServiceNow Studio. And then the last one you had there, Creator Studio. Think of Creator Studio as someone in your organization that needs to do something in ServiceNow, like create a new catalog item, or yeah, let's just stick with catalog item, and needs that kind of curated, guided experience around creating an app and a step-by-step flow through it. So it's not for your regular admin. It's more for a low-code, no-code user in order to create things. So that's my understanding of it. And you're it's going to be very white glove, right? So you're going to, as you move through Service or Creator Studio, you're going to leverage things like templates and variable sets and stuff like that that are already predefined. And there's some permissions and granular controls around what people can do, what happens after they submit an app, goes off to review, stuff like that. The functionality you expect out of App Engine Studio all come with that Creator Studio. And then leaving ServiceNow Studio, sorry, this is the old Studio, leaving ServiceNow Studio for your admins. Big difference is, like if I'm in my application right now in Studio, let's go back to Justin's house, I can come in and create a new file directly here within the application and not have to have that guided kind of curated experience. And I say that, I might be in the wrong scope. I'm not seeing the create button. Let's see, expand all. Didn't want to expand all, let's collapse all. Let's go to app details. I'm in the right scope because that's one of the nice things about this application is that it understands scope, so you don't need to like change your scope as you're probably used to doing within the admin tools. So within your ServiceNow Studio, if I want to create, there it is. That's what I want to show. If I want to create something, I could do that right from here. There's a ECMAScript module which I've done, but it's more for admins and less for the low-code, no-code users. All right. So ServiceNow IDE installed. The only thing I haven't clicked on is this hammer over here for the Now SDK, which I actually have. So this is interesting. If if I sync this, we'll go ahead and sync Justin's house. It's still seeing that same error message we saw when we first came in here. This application is synced to my Visual Studio Code, but that's interesting. I didn't know the Now SDK would be here within Visual Studio Code or within the IDE. So that's interesting. Let me go down here to the settings, command palette, profiles. Okay, so I can create different profiles, maybe depending on what I'm doing. I've got some settings I can control. Let's just move down here. So these are just like normal settings in an IDE that you'd set up around how you want things to appear. I'm assuming there's some IntelliSense around writing code in the text editor. Yeah. What languages it recognized, stuff like that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. Glad that was a good explanation. I don't know how to react yet in the chat. So Shake, I see your heart. Maybe I can hit a heart. Okay, I just did some stuff too. So I see reactions and yeah, it's fun. Hey Jerry, welcome to the stream. I'm slugging through this. We just installed the ServiceNow IDE since joining or just saw your comment. Looks like we got a couple people. And I just got done explaining the difference between all the studios. Hopefully that's the last of anything ending in studio that ServiceNow releases, because there's a lot of studios going on. But what I wanted to do in this one is show the ServiceNow IDE. So I think I've done that, and I was able to open an app. I'll probably make some more videos around the ServiceNow IDE. That use case I mentioned at the beginning around XML parsing, some HTML code that has the escape characters all in there. That's probably my next step and to figure out how to do. It just is not like once you have a JavaScript module loaded through the IDE or through the Now SDK, what I'm having difficulty connecting the dots on is how I start using that server side, both server side and client side. And so I have some stuff to work through on that, but I've got them installed. Now I've got the IDE installed in my PDI. And that's one of the things that was on my list to do. And I said, hey, I'll do that in the live stream and show people what that actually looks like. The second thing that I did want to knock out in this live stream was something I noticed it in strategic planning workspace. So I'm going to show it to you in my PDI. I've got a that's feedback, portfolio planning. I should want to have one here for Justin's house. So what I just did is what's driving me crazy. I just clicked on something and I have no way back to the portfolios that I just selected, right? So the breadcrumbs are broken currently in my instance. And I verified this in another instance. I cannot get back to those portfolios no matter what I click on, other than using, and you can't see this, the browser back button. The browser back button, which you don't usually use in a workspace. It's kind of like the whole point of having a workspace is that you don't need the browser. And the browser back button is not even working. Yeah, there it goes. It finally worked. I had to hit it 3 times. I hit the browser back button 3 times, finally got back here. But the issue that I'm seeing is the breadcrumbs are going away. In fact, if I were to go into a portfolio like this, if you haven't seen this, it's just kind of the strategic planning space. If I open a goal and say, actually that's a goal and a target. Let's open up this goal and then we'll open the full details. Look what happens in the upper left. I just realized my head might be in the way of a lot of this stuff. I cannot get back to where I was. I can't go back to that portfolio. I can't go back to that list of goals or that list of targets. I can get to the targets here. I can edit them. I can change them, but I can't get back to anything. And it's driving me crazy. I was going to post something in the community and I thought about making a video and I just didn't have time to deal with it. Okay, the back button is doing, but I shouldn't need to use the back button, right? The breadcrumbs should work. Let me show you this one other way. I've got another instance here. This little guy, let me get into, actually, let me impersonate a user who has a bunch of stuff associated with them. So this is just another PDI. I'm jumping in and impersonating Megan, who's, if you've demoed stuff before in ServiceNow, there's different demo personalities. And Megan is one of those personalities who's a portfolio manager. I think she's a portfolio manager, might be a product manager. And she has the same access to the strategic planning workspace. Again, this is probably happening in other workspaces too, not just the ones I'm showing you here. Let's just go in there. I've opened a portfolio, and once again, I can't get back. The breadcrumbs are broken, and it's really annoying. So that is what I wanted to fix. For those of you, Jerry probably knows, Russ probably knows. For those of you who've seen my channel before, I do a weekly show called ServiceNow Store Highlights. And so having to go through that every week, I see all of the updates that other people are doing and what ServiceNow is doing. And one of those updates is and she can't do this. Let me get out of Megan. One of those updates is the UIB, UI Builder Wrapper Components was updated just last week, I think it was. So I'm going to go to Application Manager in this other instance, and I'm just going to search for wrapper, just like it sounds with a W. And there should be an update. Let's go to updates here. Ooh, there's not an update. Here's why. I haven't synced the store on this particular instance. December 3rd was the last time I synced it. So let's go ahead and sync. Let that sync. I did sync it on my other PDI, so I'll show you that here. Let's go to Admin, Application Manager. Yeah, this was synced this morning at 10:10 a.m. So let's go ahead and search for wrapper here as well. And we'll make sure to do that under updates. So this is the one I'm talking about, Common UIB Wrapper Components. If we click on this, it should show the release notes, which is what I cover on my weekly show. And this is the fix that I'm after. Fix the breadcrumbs defect in this release. So random that this one thing is a problem that was, for me, it was like a big headache. So I'm hoping that this actually fixes it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do this in both instances. I'm going to go ahead and install that. If you haven't seen it before, that's how you do an update. One of the ways you can do an update in ServiceNow. So we'll go back to the other instance and see, yeah, it finally showed up after the store sync. So that finished while we were in the other instance. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this one, to open up the Common UIB Wrapper Components and head to that update and go ahead and install it. So that is that. While we're waiting on the install, if you guys have questions or there's something else you want to see, I'm actually going to run out of stuff because I had these two things kind of queued up to show you. So if you just randomly want to see something, drop it in there. I might be able to do it. I might not be able to do it. Who knows? This is fun. That's still running. Let's head over back to this other one, 291123. Oh, I'm in that one. Let's go here. They look exactly the same. So I'm switching between instances. I don't know if you can tell. There's two instances and they look exactly the same. So we're just waiting on that to finish. This is where normally I'd play some music. If it was an edited video, I'd speed it up so you'd see like everything happening really fast. But what I wasn't able to figure out when I started the live stream is how to get my system audio playing over the live stream. I know I can play it over the microphone, but that sounds horrible, especially the kind of music that I like, which is electronic music. Doesn't carry well over a microphone. And so one of my homework items is going to be how to figure out to get music playing before the live stream starts and during dead spaces like this where we're kind of waiting on something to be installed. Okay, that one finished. So this is installed. And I'm hoping it's as simple as going back to the workspace and my breadcrumbs are back. I hope I don't have to like flush the cache for the instance. I won't be surprised if I do, but let's just give it a good refresh. I'm going to do a browser refresh like you saw me do earlier with the ServiceNow IDE. This is installed now, so let's head back to Strategic Planning Workspace. It did go back to my portfolio menu for portfolio planning. Let's open up customer products. So what I want you to pay attention to, if this works, is right up here. We should get our breadcrumbs back if it's working correctly. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. I still don't see a way back to the portfolios. This doesn't click. This doesn't click. If I go to the list and come in here, yeah, the breadcrumbs are still broken. But we'll do a cache. We'll flush the cache. Wasn't planning on showing that here, but that's a good tool in the admin's toolkit. Is when you make changes to the instance, a lot of things are cached in memory, so they load faster. Yes, Jerry, we will. I don't know that anybody's going to want to rewatch this afterwards, Jerry, but yes, I will. It's recording using the streaming service that I have, so I did plan on actually publishing it. But I believe YouTube and LinkedIn kind of keep a recording as well, so yes, it will be available. I guess I could. And yes, I will be doing more, and there'll be you missed that at the beginning, Jerry. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UTC, I will be doing live demos every week. I've only got an hour, but the idea is you can come that time every week and see a live demo. The topics are going to change. Eventually, I'll have a form to request particular things to see in demos, and if I can demo them, I will. Yeah, this will be a regular event every single week. The only conflict I think I have is 2 weeks from now is Christmas here in the United States. I think it's Christmas everywhere, if that's what you celebrate. I'm on the fence if I'm still going to come and do one. I don't know. I might surprise you. I don't see why I can't spare an hour to come in and demo something with ServiceNow. So hopefully, yeah. Cheers back to you too, Jerry. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely will be more of these. Um, let's see. Okay, so it didn't fix my. Thanks, Robert. Yes. Yeah, or making fun of me, right? You can make a meme out of me screwing something up from the recording. um, the so this was supposed to fix the breadcrumbs, is what I was hoping for, and it didn't. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to bring this down so you can see it. Let me make sure. Okay, so you can see my URL of the instance. I'm just going to replace everything after the service-now.com with slash cache.do, cache.do. No numbers in there, just letters. And that's going to flush the cache for my entire instance, in this case, my personal developer instance. And I'm doing that because I just installed or I just updated that UIB wrapper components, and I'm hoping it fixed the breadcrumbs issue. So we'll let that reload. And let's go back to my other instance where that installed too, and we'll just go ahead and do the same thing on that one. It might take a little bit longer. Got a lot more going on in that instance. Hit refresh here. Oh, I see a question here. I'd love to see your EC portal if you have any designs or examples to share. I'm working on enhancing my skills in service portals, employee centers, and it would be great to get some inspiration. Yeah, okay. Let me be transparent about myself as I answer that question. So the question is about employee center portal, different designs and stuff like that. I'm good at many things. One of the things I'm not good at and I'm really bad at is design, right? So I'm colorblind. I'm not good at shapes and stuff like that. So I really lean heavily on like pre-built out of the box things. It's probably not what you're looking for, Shake. Um, so I don't personally. I do plan on showing Employee Center in one of these, live sessions on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UTC. Um, just not in this particular one. I mean, I can actually show it in this one if we have time. Um, but I always rely on the out of the box Employee Center, and I don't even like change the colors or the logo. When in my previous life, I demoed to customers. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't change anything. Because one, I think it was important to see out of the box, especially for new people who've never seen it before. But the biggest reason was because I'm not good at it. This is not something I'm good at, and I tend to focus on the things that I do well, not the things that I don't do well. So I apologize for not being able to show you anything cool. Now I have seen some cool ones. So in fact, if you search for anything in a university setting, those are where I've seen some really cool portals. Ohio State University is one of them, but there's a couple of them where they have some really cool portal designs that I think people have done a great job with. Oh yeah, so Robert, I don't know how to do what you're saying. Yeah, so the question that I was responding to was on YouTube. Let me see if I can copy and paste that over. Question from YouTube. Hey Jace, how you doing, sir? Robert was just asking about the question from YouTube. That was the question from YouTube, and just put it over LinkedIn that I was attempting to answer there. And that essentially, I'm not good at design and colors and graphics and stuff like that. So what I usually demo is the out of the box Employee Center. And keep in mind too, there's more than one. There's like Employee Center Standard or regular, and there's Employee Center Pro or Professional. And the Pro has a lot more bells and whistles than the regular one does. Okay, so UIB wrapper components installed. In this instance, I refreshed. Let's go back to the one where I just did a cache flush on that instance, and let's hop back into the workspace. We want to impersonate Megan again, since she has that access. and we'll jump in there and see if our breadcrumbs issue is fixed after resetting the cache there. Thanks, Jace. Yeah, I had just minor difficulties getting the stream set up, but I think I'm good to go going forward. Just not intuitive, but I figured it out. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Yeah, ESC is a lot. Yeah, that's an understatement. I keep forgetting to click the little. I don't know if the thumbs up or do anything for you guys, but all right. So I'm back in the workspace. Again, we're diving into a functionality or feature on the workspace, and the expectation is that I've got some breadcrumbs up here to get my way back out of after I dive in, and I'm not really hopeful that this is going to work. Yeah, I'm 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 deep in now, and I can't get back to my portfolios, so it's still frustrating. Um, I was really hoping that would fix it. It obviously hasn't, and I'll use my back button, which is weird. I shouldn't need to use my back button. Let's try that one more time. One more time. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so you actually have some stuff in here. We'll open one of these. And yeah, I'm not getting any breadcrumbs that I'm expecting there in the upper left. So that's a fail. That's an application fail. Now, I didn't know if that was going to fix it. I was hoping it would fix it. If you just joined, the reason I was hoping it would fix it is because the release notes on the application I just installed says it fixed the breadcrumbs defects in this release. So I was really hopeful. And it doesn't seem to be fixing it. So let's go into mine. This is where I spend most of my time in my instance, and we'll open up my portfolio there. And yeah, no breadcrumbs. So still not working. That's a bummer. I was really hoping that would show properly. I need to get out here and update my goals too. I've been messing around with this module like personally, setting up some goals, setting up some targets to see how things tracked and understand the application better. And the first thing I noticed was like, hey, once I'm in here, I can't get back. So definitely that's still a bug. The only thing I haven't done in this instance, since you guys have been watching, is I haven't done the cache like we did in the other one. I guess I could bring this down so you can see that cache.2 is all I'm doing to get that working. But I don't think it's going to work. So there was total with that UIB wrapper components application that got updated last week. There were like 100 and something, 170 something apps that were updated, and like a handful of those were UIB related. So I probably want to go put them all in there at some point. In fact, let's go here to Application Manager and look at the updates available in this instance. Yeah, so I've got 16 more available. Properties pane, uh, let's see, builder core. So these, if you look in the middle of these names, you should see UIB in there. I know this is related to UIB because it says UI Builder right there. So these are applications, they're dependency applications that you don't normally see. There's UI Builder. So what I'll probably do, not in the live stream, is go install these other three and see if that actually fixes my breadcrumbs issues, and I can record that too. So Jace is asking, what application was that? That was the strategic planning application that I was showing. I was jumping into in the workspace. Sorry if that wasn't clear. Jerry's asking on LinkedIn, in case for those of you that are watching on YouTube, do I back up my PDI? Jerry, I epically back up my PDI. Like there's so much going on related to how my PDI is backed up. In fact, I had a good exercise in the spring of 2024 when ServiceNow migrated all PDIs to a different data center or something. I actually don't know what they were doing, and I lost my PDI. Didn't get lost; it existed, but it was I couldn't log into it, and there was no way for me to get into it. So I had to restore everything from scratch. What I can tell you, Jerry, and everybody else who's watching or listening, the things that you want to back up. Oh, I actually submitted backing up your PDI as a Knowledge 2024 session topic, and I was turned down, unfortunately. But the reason I submitted it as a topic is because okay, yeah, I could definitely do that. I submitted as a topic because for those of us that have PDIs, like our entire world centers around what we're building and doing in those PDIs. And yes, it is a playground. yes, it is a test bed for us to go and do stuff and mess things up, but sometimes the stuff we do there works, and it'd be nice to back it up and not have to recreate it. So since you asked, Jerry, let me give you, make sure I'm in the right instance. Yeah. Uh, One of the things that can send you in the right direction is a capability in the instances called export sets. And I'll just show you mine. I've got 47 of them that are running, and you can see from templates and my content that I actually create. I actually back up the export sets themselves because I don't want to, like, um, when I restore everything, I don't want to have to reset up all my exports. So I back up the export definitions. I back up the export sets. I back up the targets for the export sets. You're very welcome, Jerry. So that's just a preview. My backups are pretty involved. What happens with these? They are dropped on a mid server that's in a Docker container. Jason knows about mid servers and Docker containers. I drop them there, and then I have a script that runs locally in my office on my Windows PC that copies those exported XML files to Google Drive. So not only do I have the export happening locally, but I have it backed up to Google Drive. So if my office were to catch on fire, knock on wood, I'll have a backup of everything. I doubt that my office would catch on fire and I'd lose my PDI at the same time. I'd hope that wouldn't happen, but you just never know this day and age what's going to happen. So yeah, that's the way I back up my PDI. The other way, Jerry, if you were watching earlier, is I make heavy usage of the source control capabilities within the instance. So I showed this in the Legacy Studio earlier. Now I'm in App Engine Studio. Justin's house application in this PDI is where most of my stuff is. And I use source control for all of that. So we'll just go ahead and commit. You can see I've got 17 changes. I was messing around with a subflow and a dashboard. And the routine is once I get done editing my application or something, I come in here, I commit my changes, all that gets sent up to GitHub, and I can go to another instance and I can come into App Engine Studio or the Legacy Studio, and then I can import from source control. So there's an import app where I can put the URL, the branch of where that lives in GitHub, the email, and a credential. That's important. And then pull all that stuff back down to an instance. So I have a two-pronged approach there to backing up PDI is export sets and using source control. And yes, we can definitely do a dedicated live demo of that for sure. Let's see. We've got more comments. Jay says it's amazing. I'm curious if there's an appetite to have this in another system. What were you talking about when you left that, Jace? Because I've been talking for a bit. I'm working on some ways to auto deploy code, not the regular way. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're referencing there. But yeah. Shake, are you still there on YouTube about the Employee Center? I don't know if he's there or not. Just so you guys know, I didn't know this. There's a little bit of a delay between what I'm streaming and what you guys are seeing. I'd say it's about 30-ish seconds. I wasn't anticipating that. I thought live stream meant live stream, but it actually makes sense to me now I'm thinking about it, because if like I did something stupid, give somebody a chance to like do something. I will share this with the mentees that I'm mentoring as we were developing an app for a project we were doing. Cool. Yeah, export sets. Yeah, show them that. Jace, this is in another system. This is another system. The whole app. The whole, like the Justin's House app or the strategic planning app. Jace, I should just give you a link to come join the live stream because I don't. Hey, Jerry, I'd definitely be open to that. Yeah, let me know if I can help. Would love to be a guest speaker for sure. Yeah. Yes, Sanjay. Yes, it's funny. I've never. Well, actually, I did do a video. Hold on here. Let me grab my YouTube channel. Can I do this? Yeah. Let me go to content here. You guys are getting a behind the scenes look. Oh, look, I just did a ServiceNow search. Yeah. Okay, Jace, no problem. Yeah. I know we're not timed here. So Sanjay, there's a video I did on restoring my PDIs mid-server. That's not what you're asking. Okay, yeah, that's not ready. PDI rebuild, inaccessible PDI, time to test backups. So I've kind of like, you can see there, I've skirted around the topic of my backups, but I've never really made a video on the backups. Okay, yeah, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, drop me a contact, or do I have a contact? I think I have a contact me form on my blog, justin.house. I think I do. If I don't, I need one because people leave stuff all the time. I don't have a contact form. Okay, that's something I need to do. There's no contact form on my blog. So yeah, Jerry, yeah, if you leave me or shoot me a direct message in LinkedIn, and yeah, I'd love to help you out on the speaking to your team there. Okay. So Sanjay just said that's definitely yes. We could do a backup video, but I do have a couple out there, but I don't think they are. There's a PDI restoration, and that actually doesn't exist anymore. So there used to be a way to restore PDIs. You can tell this is from where's my okay, my head's not away. This is from July of 2022. There was a restore option, but that's, I should probably turn that video off. You can't do it anymore. Okay, here's one on personal ServiceNow instance data backups. Okay, Sanjay, actually, maybe I do have one. How I use export sets in the mid server. So let me drop that in the chat to you, Sanjay. But it probably needs a refresh. Here's my original backup video, and I'll put a link. There you go. That one I made in 2022, it looks like, as well. But that's the same system I'm still using. Yeah, I made that December 5th, 2022. That's the same stuff I'm actually still using. And I probably should make a refresh video because the UI changes and stuff like that. And there's been some lessons learned around the mid servers themselves and kind of targeting them and backing them up. But there's lots of potential there for doing that properly. Anything else from people who are watching? Looks like I got 7 people here on LinkedIn and 1 person on YouTube. I know Shake was asking about, Shake is on YouTube. For those of you on LinkedIn that can't see, he was asking about the Employee Center. I don't have anything I don't have anything custom around Employee Center, but I don't mind showing. Let's see, EC Pro, I think yeah, I might even have EC Pro installed. ESC stands for Employee Service Center. And this is what I normally show, is this view right here. And yeah, this isn't the, you can tell this is the, in order to do that show of every Monday, I actually have a catalog item that I used to click on. I don't click on it anymore. It runs automatically. That syncs the store down to my PDI. So that's showing up on Employee Center. But you can see I haven't done any customization, any changes to this other than what you see there. So it's out of the box. And I don't even have the pro version, it looks like. Yeah. ECP. I'm trying all the different extensions I can remember. I didn't like that either. So ESC is all I got. But we can definitely do that. We can definitely show Employee Center Pro on a future Wednesday. Would love to do that. And Sanjay, you don't have to go through all my videos. If you want to reach out and ask me a question, I probably know a lot more about what's in there than somebody who's coming across it for the first time. Plus, I have a lot of personal stuff in my channel too, so just feel free to ask, and I'd be happy to show you. But yeah, this is my first live stream. I think it went pretty well. I got the 2 items I wanted to done, which was the ServiceNow IDE, and what I didn't get the second one done. My breadcrumbs are still broken, which is disappointing. But I'll after this, I'll get those other applications installed and see if that fixes it, and then I can make a video showing what we did here in the live stream, what I did to finish it up, and see if it fixes my breadcrumbs issues. But for now, those of you that are watching, if you have demo things that you want to see, I will get a page on the blog for requesting those, and I'll have visibility into what's coming on a coming Wednesday, so that when you see that post come on YouTube or come on LinkedIn, I'll make sure to include the actual content of what that demo will be. But think of things like actual products, IT service management, customer service management, SecOps, integrated risk management, SecOps being security incident response, vulnerability response, um, anything on the platform that I would normally demo. Those are all going to be topics. Oh wow, a bunch of comments came through. Andrea, thanks Andrea for coming. Appreciate it. Welcome to Justin's house. Yep, you just had your first open house. Do you plan to split the non-ServiceNow stuff from the ServiceNow stuff on your channel? I've thought about it, and then and it stresses me out when I think about it. But yes, I've thought about it, and it may happen at some point because Jace, you may not know this, and I know you're probably headed out. I actually go through all of your news.jace.pro stuff, and I mark off whether I've reviewed it or not, right? So there's you can see this stuff right here. So if I'm seeing the same stuff you are too on my channel, and I'm like, oh, there's my running videos. I don't have to review those. So yeah, if you guys don't know about it already, check out news.jace.pro. I value it so much. I'm importing it into my PDI, and I have a system for marking off whether I've actually reviewed stuff or not. So I can actually just come through Jace's new stuff, and you can see there where I reviewed a bunch of stuff yesterday. I just changed the date and let him know I reviewed. So it's great, really, really helpful information. Robert says he's new to ServiceNow. Find the history of Angular.js. Very interesting. How Google stopped. Hey, if you haven't yet, Robert, there's a UI Builder video called UI Builder 101 on the dev channel. I think it was on the dev channel, ServiceNow's dev channel. And he explains the history of Jelly being used for the backend of ServiceNow, Angular being used for the portal experience in ServiceNow, and the direction they're headed with the componentized next experience to move away from both of those things, both Jelly and from Angular. Jace is guilty of non-ServiceNow stuff too. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Mid-server LLM stuff. Yeah. All that. Great. Great. But yeah, Robert, that's a great video. I don't have I can send you a link to it if you can't find it, but that's a great video where he gives the background of all that. So yeah, they're moving away from the whole platform is moving towards this next experience, which won't be the Angular. I think the only thing you can't do in UI Builder right now, at least it's not supported, is building portals. But you could see the writing on the wall. That's where they're moving towards. It will be portal experiences using UI Builder and stuff like that. You're very welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're right at the top of the hour. Thanks for being part of my first live stream. I appreciate it. And then the next one will be better. So appreciate you guys. Have a great day. And now I figured out how to turn this off. Let's see. I can end stream here. Are you sure you want to end your live broadcast? Your broadcast will be available as a replay afterwards. Yes, people asked for that. Okay, so it's ended there. YouTube, your stream will stop immediately and you'll no longer be live. Okay, that's fine. End. Okay.